11 days before Alex Preddy was killed, this happened.
Showing a man who appears to be Alex Preddy interacting with federal immigration.
He attacked a federal vehicle. He tried to get away from federal agents, and he was armed. That day, he walked away alive. So when people ask what changed this day versus the day he was shot, that's where the story actually starts at. Now, I will say, to start off with, I posted this video to Instagram yesterday, and people lost their ever-loving mind. How many people, and I'm owed a lot of apologies, as I usually am, because they stated this video was AI. They stated it was AI. It was not AI. I could tell it wasn't AI. Number one, videos made with AI can only be like 6 to 10 seconds. The other thing, because I'm a YouTuber for 14 years now, also worked on television shows, I realized I thought it was 30 FPS, right? But it turns out to be 24. The thing is, the camera you're watching me on right now, you can see my hand movements are a little slower. This is the cinematic feel, and the more you slow it down to 24 frames per second, the more cinematic it looks. When you watch a movie in the movie theater, that's what you're watching. That's why you watch an iPhone video, and it's like real-time movement, okay? So that's right now I'm filming in 30 frames per second. Now, if you ever notice, like when you look at a television sometimes and something seems off, it may be because that camera they were shooting in 60 frames per second, which makes it look weird because we're used to seeing that frame rate. But because of that frame rate, it made the body movements look a little different. I realize it because I've got videos spanning back through 14 years that look like this, where I'm out there shooting on the range and moving around and stuff, and things are not real time. But people wanted to say this was AI because they were in their feelings about this. Again, the reason why people come back to me and say, you know what, dude, you were right about that, my bad, is because I try to view things without my bias. I have bias, you have bias, everybody has bias. But to get the real truth and understand what's really happening in the world, you have to remove your bias and look at things definitively. What am I actually seeing? What is actually happening? Not how I feel about it, but facts over feelings. And that's pretty much the whole route of this channel's taken, is because people on both sides are so just out of their mind about every little thing. People on the MAGA edge yesterday was stating, oh, this is the reason we should have killed him because of this video. Well, why didn't he die that day? Then you had the far left stating, oh, it's AI, not true. I'm unfollowing you because you're posting nonsense. Ought to be confirmed by literally everybody, including his family today, to be real. If you notice the trend, I noticed the same thing happening, kind of like when Yuri Besovov says that we're in the demoralization phase. If you don't know who Yuri Besovov is, you're way behind the curve. He's a Soviet defector, told us exactly how they're going to destroy the United States, and it's happening real time. We are currently in the demoralization phase, in which I've stated this over the past few years. And if you just stumbled upon this video today, you should follow my channel so you can be awakened to what's happening in your world, in your life, and how it's going to wind up in the next 5 years. Because in the demoralization phase, what it states is even if I show you proof, evidence, you will deny it based off the bias that you have inside of you that's been orchestrated by the narrative. They control the narrative, control the mind. If you see how people were defending essentially Jeffrey Epstein, the MAGA defending Jeffrey Epstein client list, and that it's a hoax, you saw Alex Preddy, who we're going to see this, I'm going to play this altercation in a moment, where he winds up being alive. They see his pistol. They see that it's the same exact scenario, but there's one key difference. It's also something I stated a few weeks ago that Mr. Tom Homan validated what I said. Then this is an I told you video, but this is the thing. Quit waking up. You need to stop believing in your bias and start waking up, because your bias is what makes you form bad opinions, bad judgment, and make ultimately bad decisions. People got upset in their feelings about Donald Trump stating, oh, well, he didn't mean you can't go to a, the Constitution doesn't say that. The Constitution says that an armed society, okay, to fight tyrannical governments. It's not for hunting. It's not for self-defense even, but to fight tyrannical governments, okay? And again, what you see is this type of behavior happening on the MAGA side is the same side about mask and booster shots. The same exact thing. The same exact emotion is carried there because extreme bias, because we're in the demoralization phase of the destruction of this country. We are headed to destruction. No question. It's not going to stop. No one's coming to save you. It will go there because it's continuing and it's festering. You can look on social media. Social media has been the biggest spark for this. This video has been confirmed as real. CBS, far left, CNN, New York Post, almost every outlet, even his freaking parents, Minnesota Star Tribune confirmed, and I guess his family confirmed that that is him in the video. It's not AI. It isn't misinformation. It's not a rumor. It also happened 11 days before his death. It is not a reason why he should have died, though. And I saw a lot of MAGA saying essentially that he should have died because of this video. He kicks the tail out of a vehicle, a federal vehicle. Okay. And before I go there, let me play this other guy. Sorry. Let me play this other guy. This is a guy with hundreds of thousands of followers that he specializes in AI. He explains exactly as I did. And if you don't believe me, yesterday I replied to a person that commented saying this is AI. I said, this is not AI. It's filmed it. And I thought at that time 30 frames per second, but this guy states it's 24 frames per second.
Real video. That might surprise you if you've only seen this version of it, though. Let me explain. On the top, we have the news movement's original reporting. It has been verified by the BBC as a real video, and they are 97% sure that that is Alex Preddy in the video based on facial recognition. On the bottom, we have a Donald Trump Jr. repost of it. That's the version most people saw. That's the version I saw originally. I couldn't tell if it was real or not because it is so bad quality, so I had to find the original source. Once I found that, I could tell this is real. My own analysis here, it's a 24 frames per second.
So he's saying 24 frames per second. Another thing, too, is that you see in the Don Jr. video, the coloration is off. The video is colored corrected in the top video from the news movement, the actual source of the video. And that's who I found the video on initially.
Video shot professionally, very sharp. It's a 2-minute and 32 long take, beyond the capabilities of current AI systems.
Now, the important thing, we're going to get to the other portion of the video that I'm going to show some photographs here later. That's going to show just something very dynamic, and something went catastrophically wrong.
Additionally, there is a third angle that has.
So this is a third angle by someone on the street, and he links this up in real time.
Has been posted since January 13th. I don't think it had much significance until now. I think we've realized who's in this video, and that's why we didn't notice. But I've synced it all up. It matches. This is verified by multiple people, but this was the most sent to me video ever by a mile. I think people,
because people didn't want to believe it, because it took the martyr. And, you know, the thing is that this alone, this behavior, even with the other behavior I'm going to show you, doesn't give anyone the reason to cheer for his death. Okay. And a lot of people got in their feelings because they can't remove their bias. The other day I said this is the same thing that happened with Charlie Kirk, where the left were cheering, some of the left were cheering for Charlie Kirk's death, and then the right cheering for Alex Preddy's death, where we're now cheering for people's death based on their political ideology. This is the balkanization that's happening, and the separation of the country happening in real time. So again, I'm going to play this clip here. He's kicking out a tailgate on this video, tail light on this video. It's federal vehicle. He physically confronts agents. There's a struggle, shouting, lots of chaos. He spits inside the vehicle. Now, watch. This is from the cell phone video. Alex Preddy's very upset. If you notice the officers, this is an important part, they look much more professional than the ones on the day of his death. Not this one, not this one. This is it here. He has removed his jacket. He doesn't have his jacket on at this moment in time. And you see his pistol visible. It would be visible to the officers right here behind him. But you see they're looking right at him. So they know he has a pistol on him. So a lot of people said the video was fake because he did not get detained. Not sure why. We weren't there. We don't know. That doesn't mean it's fake. Whatever reason, they didn't detain him. Okay. Now, if we look in the video here where it's paused, you see his concealed carry pistol at his 4 o'clock. He has his jacket off. At some time during the tussle, the jacket came off. And his pistol's very visible, would have been visible to the officers. That's firearm, visible. Not concealed at this moment. While he is in the confrontation, federal agents saw it. How come nobody removed the pistol from him that day? Nobody fired a shot, multiple shots. Nobody dies. He's not arrested. He's not disarmed. He walks away. So again, this day they saw a pistol. They didn't remove it. Whereas the day that he was killed, they saw the pistol. The agent removes it from him. And then we believe that an accidental discharge happened or negligent discharge, either or, that led to the officer shooting him because they thought they were being shot at. They were probably unaware. They just heard a gunshot. But why did that officer remove his firearm, right? Again, but there's a lot of cope online saying this is AI, this is fake. They would have killed him if it was real. Except they didn't. Okay? They didn't. And everybody confirms the footage is real. Now, same man, same city, and just so happened to be the same clothing, right? Again, the important part is the agents see the gun where he removes his jacket. No weapon seizure, no cuffs, no detention. Again, I want you to understand something clearly. I'm not praising Alex Preddy. I'm not defending his behavior. And also I'm not attacking law enforcement. I'm pointing out something that should make everybody think a little bit. This interaction was objectively violent. We can all agree on that. And if you can't, maybe your bias is stirred up. He was violent this day. And it ended without lethal force. Okay. Now, before we go further, let's take a moment. New York Post is reporting it. Okay. We also learned from hospital director that he was fired 3 months before because complaints of inappropriate behavior. Something maybe got into the mind of, he got radicalized like a lot of people do, very upset, and maybe got himself terminated. Maybe it's something else completely different. But regardless, something was going on with this guy. And I'm not saying that defends him being killed in the street for having a firearm on him at all. At all. It is actually completely different than that, because if I look at what actually matters here, what matters is we have two incidents very similar. Actually, the day that he was killed was actually much less violent. He was only trying to help a woman that was being pushed by agents, which I didn't know that was part of the job. But right. But this day, these agents were uniformed and they looked like professionals, right? They were equipped, they were coordinated. You see discipline. They employed discipline. They didn't go there roughing him up. They weren't hitting him in the head with pepper spray canisters and punching him in the head. They weren't doing that. They just got him to the ground. I guess told him to relax, de-escalated the situation. Alex Pretty was still upset. He obviously broke his rib that day. But he didn't get the shit kicked out of him either. They didn't escalate emotionally, these guys. They controlled distance. Now, if we compare that to the day of Alex Pretty being killed, different look, different energy. These guys look like they're part of the Proud Boys. You can't even tell that they're federal agents. I'm very unclear as to what's going on inside of ICE. I mean, this is obviously not some type of covert operation because they don't look covert whatsoever. But they do have a different execution than these other guys that look professionals. These guys are wearing plain clothes mixed with body armor and so on, gaiters. I wouldn't even know if I would submit to these guys. I wouldn't even know if they were actual agents or not. Again, they look like they might be some militia. They have a ragtag appearance. And honestly, no clear command presence. And I'm not saying that as an insult, but I'm saying it because it matters. And it's crazy to me that Mark and I talked about this very thing the other week on our live. That they didn't appear to be professional as of late. Professionalism is everything, right? Law enforcement outcomes are driven by training, command structure, rules of engagement, and discipline under stress. And when those things break down, people die. And that isn't politics. That isn't left and right, man. This is called operations. Now, what may come to shock to many people is even Stephen Miller comes out and admits that we may have not been following protocol that day. Okay. I would agree. Tom Homan was brought in. Greg Bovino was removed. The two ICE agents were put on administrative leave. If it was clean, if it was a clean shoot and they were doing everything right, none of that would happen. It's not a coincidence. That's leadership recognizing something went wrong that day. And let me say this clearly, is that if Alex Pretty survived a more violent encounter while armed than on his death day, right? Doesn't mean it was inevitable then. His death was not inevitable. It was procedural. It doesn't mean malicious. Doesn't mean intentional. But what it does mean is systems failure. Because the uncomfortable truth is that the system decided restraint was possible until it wasn't. And when outcomes depend on who shows up, how trained they are, and whether command is present, then the system is broken. Now, the other thing is that why I say that people, they were arguing with me about this today. You're supposed to clean up the streets. Me and Mark, we talked about this, and I explained this in my live show the other week, is that ICE needs to be doing targeted operations. They shouldn't be out there hassling people, asking for papers, because that is some Gestapo stuff. It just is. And people were saying, well, that's how you're supposed to clean the streets. You do it by doing a professional job, an operation. That's what you do. I've been saying that for weeks now. You just don't go around bothering people on the street. That's not what you do. You do targeted operations. And thank goodness they brought the professionals in. They brought the adults back, because Tom Homan states it clearly here yesterday.
Are the federal immigration enforcement efforts. We will conduct targeted enforcement operations. Targeted. What we've done for decades. When we hit the streets, we know exactly who we're looking for. Good idea where we may find them. You'll have a criminal history. You'll have their immigration history. A lot of information about this person that we get from numerous databases out there. Targeted, strategic enforcement operations. That's traditionally been the case, and that's where we're going. That's what we're going to continue to do and improve upon that. With a prioritization on public safety threats.
That's what I said. Go after the public safety threats. That's exactly what I said a few weeks ago. I've been saying it for the past few weeks. Quit bothering people with these chaotic street encounters with civilians and just do targeted operations. That's what we've always done. That's what we should be doing. getting out the terrorists first, right? Cartel, violent criminals, but targeted. We know who we're going after. That's not radical. That's operational reality. Because sloppy ops create bad outcomes. Civilians are dead in the streets. Agents are possibly put in prison. It's bad for everybody. But again, the question for this video is because it goes into all the nonsense people told me over the past few weeks. They say I'm wrong. I'm wrong. This is the question nobody wants to answer. Is that why did he walk away alive that day and end up dead 11 days later? Same man, same city, same clothes, same behavior, or maybe even worse. The problem was the execution. The execution. We got to have a plan. Without a plan, you have just rogues out in the street, renegades. And you want to talk about bad times? Let that fester. Let that fester for the next administration, and when it's not your side, and let them do that. And when you're protesting something like an election or whatever it may be, and then they say, you know what? We'll give them the same thing they gave us, the same treatment. That doesn't bother you, man. You're not paying attention. And if you think pointing that out is defending someone, your brain has been poisoned by outrage culture. Everybody's got outrage culture now. They can't even listen to somebody without thinking they're being personally attacked. It's not about sympathy for the ICE. It's not about sympathy for Alex Preddy. Now, I do argue his rights, his constitutional rights, because if our president wants to say that he shouldn't have carried a firearm, and the FBI director, the one who enforces laws, and everybody else in the administration says he shouldn't have been carrying a firearm to a protest, then we went back a few hundred years, haven't we? But when systems lose discipline, structure, and guidance, that doesn't just fall on bad people, man. That falls on all of us, every one of us. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Stay frosty, stay strapped, and always stay dangerous. Black Scout.